unbelievably, we are like only 10 weeks away from the finals for the 2023 season, and I feel like it's gone so quickly, probably in large part to the fact that it's been the best season we've probably ever seen in terms of closeness. So just pretty much nearly every single game has been competitive, and there's only been like a few blowouts, which you compare that to the 2021 season, definitely couldn't say that. So what we're going to be doing is predicting what's going to happen over the next 10 weeks. Going to go and have a look at what I think is going to be the case by the end of the season. So have a look at like my top 4, top 8 predictions, like what teams that are close are going to miss the finals. Also like wooden spoon, which I think we all know, top try scorer, top point scorer, like some player awards and that sort of thing. So let's get into it. I think we'll start obviously with who's going to make the finals for me. We're going to go top 4 to begin with, and I've got written down here. I'm going to go. There's a couple surprise options here. So we go on the Panthers. Obviously, I think they've been one of the best teams all year. The Storm as well, who are equal first with Penrith and the Broncos at the moment. I'm then going to say the Parramatta Eels are going to make the top 4, as well as the New Zealand Warriors. I know, but if you ever look at the last 5 weeks, the Eels and the Warriors have been the best 2 teams in the comp, and they're like really, really hitting form at the right time. The Warriors, like I predicted at the start of the year, if they win their games in New Zealand and get some like games over in Australia, they're probably going to make the finals, and that's what's happening. Andrew Webster has turned that team around, and it's been so good to watch. Like Sean John's probably one of my best, like my favorite players to watch of all time. So watching him come out and do what he's doing this year is so sick for me to see. But yeah, the Warriors as a whole, like you got to get around them. Their fan base is unreal. They're really, really good to get around and watch this year. And the Eels have flipped a switch in the last 5 weeks, and they're looking really, really good. Like we forget that they were the grand finalists last year. Like yeah, they've lost a few players and stuff, but they've still got a lot of quality in that team. I think Mitch Moses is going to really take a strong hold of this competition in the next 10 weeks and boost the Eels into the top 4 and give them a good chance at winning another comp. Right, so that takes us to our teams that are going to be from 5th to 8th, and I've got obviously the Broncos in 5th. I just think they're starting to tail off a little bit. We saw it last year where like towards the end of the year, like they ended up missing the finals. They're in the same position pretty much last year, and they've just tailed away so much. And look, they've lost a game against the Titans they should have won. There's some players out now. Jordan Ricky's going to be out. Flegler's going to be out. Reece Walsh is suspended. It all just seems to be marinating for the Broncos to have a little bit of a poor end of the season. I still think they make the finals, but look, we don't know. And the comp is that close this year. I don't know if you can afford to lose 3 or 4 games the next 10 weeks, but we'll see how it goes, like how the Broncos go. They could come out and absolutely smoke everyone for the next 6 weeks, and I'll sit here look like an absolute idiot. But I think they're going to still make the finals, but between 5th and 8th. So I think they'll be 5th. Other teams I got there, Sharkies. I mean, they're like thereabouts. They could definitely become top 4 if they want. They've got a pretty easy run home, but again, they're losing some games they probably shouldn't. And Nico Hines' form's a bit like hairy at the moment, but we'll see how they go. They could definitely flick a switch again, like the Broncos, and just absolutely fly home. The other 2 teams I've got the like Rabbitohs. I think they've probably been one of the better teams all year, and they will make the finals. Latrell Mitchell will be coming back in round 21, which gives them 6 weeks before the finals to like really hit some form, get the Rabbitohs in form, and like make a statement in the finals. And then my last team that I've got making the finals is the North Queensland Cowboys. They started the year awfully, like the Parramatta Eels. They both started the year poor, but again, they're starting to look really, really good. I mean, like the players that were off form at the start of the year starting to come through. Tommy Dearden is playing some unreal footy, and I think it's going to like really kick on towards the end of this season for the Cowboys. So that means the close teams that are like thereabouts are going to miss the finals. I've got the Roosters, Raiders, Titans, and the Dolphins. And let me explain why. The Roosters have just been poor all year. By this time last year, they started showing some signs of switching it on. They're not doing that this year so far, and I just think they don't have enough to make the finals, really, unfortunately for them. The Raiders, look, they're in the finals at the moment. They're sitting thereabouts, and they're not that bad of a team. I don't know. They haven't impressed me all year, and that's just it. Like, I don't know. I just think there's other teams that are just going to come over the top of them when the going gets tough and make the finals, unfortunately for the Canberra fans. Now we've got the Titans. I'm sorry, guys. Like, yes, you're building very, very well for the coming years, but I think that's what this year is. It's a building year. Really, like, it's just the fact that, like, look, I honestly probably agree with the decision to go for Hasler long term over Holbrook, but I just think like you are playing the rest of the comp like with an interim coach, and I don't know how that's going to go for you in terms of being able to turn up and win games. A very, very big win over the Broncos on the weekend, but I don't know. Like, look, again, if you can take up more scalps like that and beat the teams you meant to beat, 100% you'll be in the finals. And I'm not saying like these teams I'm highlighting here because they like if they make the finals, I wouldn't be that surprised. I think the Titans are definitely a good club. You got some very good improving players like your David Fafita's, like that sort of thing. And I think your club's heading in a very good direction, but I don't know whether this year's the year for you. And of course, the fairy tale story, which I don't think will end up being the case. The Dolphins, I mean, look, Wayne Bennett, like, okay, they've had a bit of a lull at the moment, but this is sort of typical of Wayne Bennett teams. Maybe not this like in the middle of the season, but like we do see teams like Wayne Bennett teams towards the finals just tail off a bit and then just come through and kill everyone in the finals and win comps and stuff. And I wonder whether he's like starting that increased training regime a bit earlier for the Dolphins if they need that, like just a bit of a kick up the arse. But I mean, they've just been leaking so many points the last couple of weeks, and Wayne Bennett teams don't usually do that, and I just don't see how they can turn that around. Like they're getting like 50 put on them nearly like every other week now, and that's not good. Okay, we're getting the wooden spoon. Let's get this over and done with very, very quickly. The Dragons, I mean, they've got no coach. The best player wants to leave, and I think they probably should let him leave. But yeah, it's just that club is an absolute mess from top to bottom, and just there's a whole big clean out that needs to happen, and it's just going to be a long couple of years for us Dragons fans. But yeah, I think we get our first spoon, and it could be the first of a couple the next couple of years, which pains me to say. Right, top try scorer at the moment, I believe it is Dom Young and Mike Acevo that are leading the try scoring charts, with Clint Gutherson behind them on 15, and then you got some Dolphins players, Osako and the Hammer on 14 behind them. But I'm going for a smoky here. I'm reckon Dallin Martinez-Lesniak is going to score the most tries this season. He's got 12 tries in 9 games, and he's probably going to double the amount of appearances he has for the rest of the season because he was like suspended or injured at the start of the year. But man, because I watched the Dragons Warriors game live on the weekend. Right, that dude is so quick. He was just burning Fino on the outside every single time. I think the Warriors' tactic is to like shift left and then spread it right back to the right. And they create so much space for Martinez-Lesniak to go and dive into the corner. I think the way that team is set up, it's constructed for Martinez-Lesniak to score tries. And I reckon it'd be pretty cool seeing a Warriors player get the individual award, and I reckon he will get it, like top try scorer up for them. Now we'll go top point scorer. Jermaine Osako is currently leading with 156, but the guy in second, Mitch Moses, 138 is what? That's quick maths. 28 points behind. No, 18 points behind. Even closer. And I think he will come, because Para look like they're about to just really, really hit some form. And I think Mitch Moses will be a large part of that. And he's the goal kicker, and he's scoring a couple of tries too for a halfback. He's got the most goals in the comp. He's got 58 goals. So I think like he's got a really good goal kicking percentage. And when Mitch Moses is playing good, the Eels play good. So I think, yeah, and like it just makes sense. The Eels playing good, Moses is playing good, he kicks goals. Now, Dally M is between two players to make, so don't believe Reece Walsh can get it now because he's been suspended. So I think it's one of his teammates and a guy that I would absolutely love to see win it. Well, are the two top contenders. We've got Payne Haas from the Broncos and Sean Johnson. So Payne Haas, I think he's either going to get 3, 2 or 1 points every single time that the Broncos win, and I just see with them tailing off the form, like I've got something in my mind that I just feel like the Broncos aren't going to play very good footy for the next 4 or 5 weeks. They might come good towards the end of the finals, but I mean towards the later rounds towards the finals, but I don't know. There's something telling me that the Broncos are going to struggle, and with that, Payne Haas will lose some points. Yeah, he'll probably still get 1 point here and there for the Broncos on the losing side, but I think the other guy that I really, really would love to win it, and I think can win it, is Sean Johnson. And I think that's because with the Warriors, he's such an instrumental part of their wins. So every time that they win, he's getting 2 or 3 points, and they're winning a fair amount of games, and he's playing probably the best footy of his career, honestly, just from a all-round perspective. So I'd absolutely love to see Sean Johnson win it. I'm going to predict him because I just want to speak it into existence, but I do think Payne Haas is a very, very big chance as well. And I think the NRL would love either way, really. It's you've got a front row winning it for the first time as the story, or the Sean Johnson redemption arc. Other individual player award, I've got Rookie of the Year going to Dream the Dream Buller. I love this, watching this guy play so much. He plays with so much heart and passion, which we don't really see from Tigers players. But as a fullback, I think his work ethic is insane. He's never say die attitude. He nearly single-handedly won them their game against the Panthers, which has turned their season around. Okay, they're still down the bottom of the ladder, but in terms of Tigers fans have lost hope, but they definitely there's light at the end of the tunnel now for them, and I reckon Dream Buller is one of those guys that is the reason why. He's 1%ers, his effort plays, he's making so many meters, he's good off kicks. I just absolutely love this guy, and I think he really thoroughly deserves Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, okay, maybe I'm just a bit of a Warriors fanboy because I've got Andrew Webster, but watching them play on the weekend, the way he's transformed 3 guys in particular's games, 4 guys actually, Sean Johnson, Chancellor Klukstad, as well as Adam Fanua-Blake and even Dallin Watene-Zelezniak is insane. I think the way that I saw them shifting the ball off the back line was unreal. It pretty much like had Charles Klokstad and Watene-Zelezniak set up as if they were like double fullbacks, and it just like pulled the Dragons defense in about 20 or 30 meters off the, well, maybe not that far, 20 meters in off the sideline, and then they just like, because they're so quick, they were shifting faster than the Dragons defense could, and it just gave Watene-Zelezniak so much time and space just to absolutely burn them. And they did it 4 times, well, 5 times, because Rocco Berry scored a try off of that kind of play as well. Just, yeah, Andrew Webster has transformed the way the Warriors play. They now play with like, defense is an attitude thing, and Warriors can defend properly now. They used to like always have the flair and be able to score points, but there's a lot of like games this year that they've been close, and they've lost a couple of them, but they've also won a couple of very close games, and Warriors wouldn't do that. Usually, like, even you have a look at that game, Warriors vs Sharks, when the Warriors came back. The Warriors don't do that. Andrew Webster is changing the identity of the Warriors, and it's awesome, and I think he deserves Coach of the Year. And the big one, grand final predictions. Man, it's tough. Look at probably 2 teams in the top 4 are going to make it, just because like the way what history tells us. And look, I think the Panthers probably will do enough to get there. And I think they're either going to verse the Broncos or the Storm. You know, like the Rabbitohs as well are the other one that could definitely make a charge to the finals. I'm going to predict Panthers versus Storms, a repeat of the 2020 grand final, and we'll see if Panthers can get revenge. Let me know what you think is going to happen in like the last 10, 12 weeks of the season in the comments below. Thanks for watching.